What's going on, everybody? My name's Tim Williams. We're here to break down today's 13-game MLB DraftKings slate. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Tim. We've been breaking down these daily slates, MLB slates over on DraftKings. Before I get started, I just want to give a shout out to Carmen. You can see him commenting on a lot of these videos. He took down a huge prize yesterday, first place, $1,000. So massive shout out to you, my dude. And let's just get started here. First game we have on the slate here, Yankees taking on the Orioles. Yankees on the road, 9.5 over under. Kluber taking on Zimmerman. Kluber 8,300 I think is just too expensive. He hasn't really looked that great so far this season. And then Zimmerman, I wouldn't really go there. Yes, I know the Yankees are struggling here, but he's just a pitcher you cannot trust. Yankees 30th in average, 21st in on base percentage. It's no secret that they've been definitely slumping here. It's hard to stay away from them because of the marquee names. I guess guys in play would be those right-handed bats, maybe Stanton at 4.7, Judge at 5.6, Torres at 4.2, even DJ at 5.2. DJ, I think, will go the lowest owned, but some interest there, but there's a lot of, spots to go to. So I probably personally won't be getting to the Yankees myself. And then on the Orioles side, I think they're going to surprise some people again. They had a huge game yesterday. Not great, statistically, 17th in average, 20th in on base percentage, but they can get some games where they string along, hits here, and they do have some power in that lineup. Two guys I really love in this whole slate. Mullins at 3.5. He had a huge day yesterday. Also, DJ Stewart at 2.9. Two lefties who I think can attack Kluber. At that price point, it's really cheap. It allows you to pay up for pitching or some bats. If you're really going to go for a full game stack, I think Mountcastle's in play. 3.4. Galvis hits righties pretty well at 3.6. And then Mancini also as well, definitely in play. And then next we have the Nationals taking on the Blue Jays. Nationals favorited here, 8.5 over under. Scherzer taking on Malone, Thornton. Not really interested in the whole, opener and, these guys pitching 2-3 innings. So no interest on the Blue Jays side from there. Scherzer definitely interested, 10.9K. He's the clear spend up on this slate. I think his ownership will be decently high, as it should be. I mean, the talent's there. He's fully stretched out. However, he is taking on the Blue Jays. It's a little bit of a tougher matchup. That being said, I don't really have a lot of interest on the Blue Jays side, maybe a one-off here or there. And then Nationals, I don't really have a lot of interest either. I know they're facing a Blue Jays bullpen, but Bell at 4.4, Turner 5.2, Schwarber 5.2. Those are the kind of guys maybe I'd look for in a one-off. But with Scherzer on the mound, I don't really have a ton of interest in this game. Next, we have the Red Sox taking on the Mets. Mets home, 8.5 over under. Richards taking on Peterson. Zero interest in Richards. He really hasn't been all that good. Peterson, 7.5K, not interested there, mainly because he's facing the Red Sox, who are first in average, third in on base percentage. These guys can mash the ball. Red Sox hitters in play, I think, are those right-handed at bats. Martinez at 5.7, Bogarts 5.7, Renfroe for some salary savings at 2.7. That's really kind of my main interest there. And then on the Mets side here, Mets hitting for average, 6th in average, 4th in on base percentage. They don't strike out a ton. These guys are definitely in play against Richards, who really hasn't looked good. So I love Smith at 4K, Conforto 3.9, Nimmo 3.7. Those are the three bats I think that are fairly cheap, I think, on this slate. And then Alonso, clear spend up at 5.3. He's just so good. Davis at 3.6, Lindor, the list goes on. So definitely some interest in the Mets. Next, we have the A's taking on the Rays. A's favorited on the road, 8.5 over under. Frankie Montas, 7.7K, taking on Waka at 7.7. I definitely would rather have Montas in this matchup. No interest in Walker, really. Montas, I think, one of the better spend downs on the slate for sure. He's taking on a Rays team who is third overall in strikeouts and really just don't look all that scary. So definitely have a lot of interest in Montas. And I really want to get to some of those big bats. So big interest there. A's have been kind of hot. They're 24th in average, but everywhere else they look pretty good. Canha 3.9, Laureano 4.4K, Chapman 4.7. Especially if you're looking for just a bat, like a one-off power bat, I think those guys are definitely in play. And then on the Rays side, I really don't have much interest. Like I said, Montas is probably going to be one of my favorite pitchers on the slate. Meadows would be the only guy, 3.6K. His price just comes down a lot. Next, we have the Cubs taking on the Braves, 8.5 over under here. Braves favorited at home. Williams taking on Anderson. Williams somehow more expensive than Anderson. No interest in Williams or, even the Cubs really. Rizzo, maybe the one guy, 3.9K is just so cheap as a one-off. But Anderson's a really talented pitcher. I think there's strikeouts to be had in this game. Cubs are fifth in strikeouts overall, 27th in average, just not really, clicking here. So Anderson, I think, is going to be a sneaky play here. I don't think he's going to get too much ownership. And then for the Braves bats, like these guys have just been hitting on fire. They shelled Davies yesterday. So I think anybody really is in play here. And it starts with the first, the top five: Acuna, Freeman, Ozuna, Albies, Darno. The problem is they're just really expensive. So maybe you get like a Frankie Montas and then another cheaper pitcher is definitely viable. Next, we have the Marlins taking on the Brewers, 8 over under here. This is just kind of a garbage game. Castano taking on Hauser. Castano, one of the worst pitchers in baseball. He, I think, walks more guys than he strikes out. 6.4K and zero interest there. Brewers, Hauser at 8K. There's just other pitchers to go spend for. Marlins, two guys, I guess, that would be in play. Jazz, he's just been on fire. It's really fun watching what he can do. He can hit for power. He can get on base. When he does get on base, he steals. So 4.5K, I think, is really reasonable. And then Duvall, 3.7K, just has that power upside. And then for the Brewers, this is just not a good team, just decimated by injuries. Garcia, 3.5K, Hyura in play. Taylor, I think, is one of the better spend downs at 2.4K. And then Pina at catcher at 3.5K. I think he hit cleanup yesterday. So some interest there in the Brewers bats. They are at home, which helps them a lot. And they're facing just one of the worst pitchers on the slate. So it's hard not to say no to that. Next, we have the Phillies taking on the Cardinals. No favorite here, 8.5 over under. Eflin taking on Martinez. Eflin at 8,800. I don't think anybody's going to pay for him. I think he'll go very low owned. He's definitely somebody that you should have interest in. There's a lot of other pitchers on this slate, so I could see not getting to him. And then Martinez at 7-1, just no interest there. Phillies, they've been hitting the ball very, very well recently. 7th in average, 10th in on-base percentage, 16th in home runs. I think it starts with Rhys Hoskins, 5.4K, just solid value there, even though he's priced for it. Harper, 6K. McCutchen, if you're just going for a stack, 3.7K is not going to kill you. He does walk a lot. And then Realmuto at 5.3. Didi, I think Phillies are definitely in play here, but if I'm taking a one-off here, I like Hoskins. And then next we got Cardinals here. No interest there. Carlson at 3.4K. He hits on the other side of the plate, but that's kind of about it. Next, we have the Angels taking on the Rangers. Angels 9 over under. Angels favorited here. I love this offense. They're second in average, 7th in on-base percentage, 2nd in home runs. Just everything is clicking for them. This is a definite like full stack potential matchup here. Trout at 6.3. The guy is just unbelievable. Ohtani, if he makes the lineup, he pitched yesterday. He hit yesterday. At 4.3K, that's insanely cheap. I don't think he's going to be in the lineup, but if he does, I definitely would take a look at it. Rendon at 4.9, Upton 3.5, Walsh 4.1, all solid plays here. And then Rangers, not too much of an interest here. Maybe Gallo or Lau against Quintana. Quintana is definitely one of the best spend downs on the slate. He hasn't really looked that great all season long, but he is facing the Rangers, who are first in strikeouts. So there's definitely some interest there. I think he pitched against them last time out, had some success. Rangers not really a scary team, especially against lefties. And then Fulton Newitz, there's a big reason why you want to stack the Angels here. There's not much to love in Fulty. Next, we have the Tigers taking on the White Sox, 8 over under here. White Sox favorited. Urania going against Giolito. I think Giolito is one of the best spend ups on this slate. If you're looking to kind of get different with Scherzer or even pair it with him or Montas, I think Giolito at 9.5 is very, very reasonable. Taking on a Tigers team who are 28th in average, 30th in on-base percentage, dead last, 4th in strikeouts. So that being said, no interest in any Tigers hitters. And then on the other side, the White Sox, huge interest here, 3rd in average, 2nd in on-base percentage, facing a guy who doesn't really strike out a ton of guys, gives up a lot of hard contact. Love the White Sox at home. Moncada at 5K, Abreu 5.6, Anderson, Robert. They're all just kind of priced up. Grandel. So it's going to be hard to get to a full stack here. But if you pay down at pitching, I think you can sneak some of those bats in. Next, you have the Mariners and the Astros, 8.5 over under. Astros favorited here. You have Gonzalez taking on Javier. Zero interest in Gonzalez. Javier at 9.3, kind of pricey here. I think he's an interesting play. I don't think anybody's really going to play him. Mariners strike out a lot. They're 8th in the league in strikeouts. They've been kind of hot recently, but I think I'd give the upper hand to Javier. With that being said, on the Mariners side, the one guy I would go for is Seager at 4.4K, and then Haniger just because he's a little bit cheap. But Javier, definitely interesting. I just would rather see a larger sample size from him, so I probably won't look his way, but definitely in play. And then Astros, they crushed lefties. Bregman at 5.2. Altuve came back yesterday. He looked amazing, 5K. They really missed him. Gurriel at 4.8K, awesome play. Alvarez 5.2. I don't mind that. So definitely Astros bats in play. Next, we have the Padres Diamondbacks, 9 over under here. Paddock taking on Kelly. No interest in Paddock here at 9K. Kelly at 6.7. No interest there. I like taking hitters against Kelly. Paddock, I'm hoping because of the matchup, people are going to look his way. I'm definitely interested in a lot of these Diamondback bats, as well as the Padres too. That 9 over under, I think, is a little too low. Clearly in play, Tatis at 5.4. He looks amazing. Machado 4.8. Grisham 5.1. Maybe people get scared of that price tag. Myers looks good. Even Hosmer. Cronenworth 3.5K is way too cheap. So I love the Padres here. They might be one of the better stacks of the day. I think they might get some ownership here too. And then Diamondback side, I think it really intrigued me, especially if Paddock, gets a little bit of ownership. I think the Diamondbacks have a good chance of putting up some runs here. They're second in home runs, 15th in average, 8th in on base percentage. I think there's a lot of sneaky value here. They're all kind of priced a little bit too cheap. Paddock, not very good against lefties. I love Calhoun at 2.8K, Escobar 4.5, Peralta 4.5, Smith. Really, Kelly, if he's behind the plate, I don't mind him. Just some sneaky upside here. I think they're just not going to be owned. This slate's too big. They're facing the Padres. It might scare some people, but I think the home run power upside is great, and they're at home. So definitely worth some salary savings there. Next, we have the Rockies Giants, 8 over under. Giants favorited at home. Chichi Gonzalez taking on Sanchez. No interest in Chichi whatsoever. Sanchez, not on this type of slate. I think if it was like a 5 or 6 game slate, I definitely would have interest in Sanchez, but nothing today. Rockies, that being said, no interest in any of the hitting. Giants, this team can hit, and they showed it last night. They jumped on Gomer real quick. So Giants definitely in play today. Belt 3.3K. Longoria is the highest priced batter for the Giants. So you can easily stack up this team if you really wanted to. Posey at 4K. He looks great. Dickerson at 3.5. This team looks pretty good. So I definitely have some interest in the Giants bats. And then last but not least, the Reds taking on the Dodgers. Low over under total here, 7.5. Dodgers favorited. Hoffman taking on Buehler. Don't have a lot of interest in Hoffman. I don't really have any interest in any pitcher going against the Dodgers. And then Buehler at 10-2. I think he's a fine play. I think he'll go lower owned than like a Scherzer or Giolito. Just not interested because of the matchup. The Reds look pretty good. 5th in average, 5th in on base percentage, 1st in home runs. That being said, I don't have a ton of interest in the Reds bats. Castellanos, 6.1K. Nobody's going to own him. I mean, you can get Trout for 2K more. So that being said, he's just mashing the baseball. He's been fantastic. Him and Winker at 4.3K have been so good. And then on the Dodgers side, I think once again, this slate is big. I don't think a lot of ownership is going to be going the Dodgers' way. Hoffman is a pitcher who does not scare me at all. So I love getting that full stack of the Dodgers here. Mookie at 5.8, Turner 5.4. He didn't play yesterday, so he should be rested. Seager at 5.1, Muncy. Lux is back at 3.4K. I just love it based on the ownership here. That looks pretty solid to me. So yeah, that being said, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that like button. Shout out to Carmen, won that $1,000 yesterday. That's freaking awesome, man. I hope you have the same luck today, and take it easy, and I'll see you on the other side.